For those of you who are new to this session, please be informed that it is part of an initiative by International Coach Federation Switzerland on the occasion of the International Coaching Week. It is a webinar that is addressed mainly to international workers and organizations, but we're also very happy to welcome people from other horizons, and anyone that is interested in coaching and how this is beneficial for both individuals and organizations. My name is Sara Imru-Mathieu. I'm an executive leadership coach. I'm a former employee of an international organization, so I'm kind of familiar with that environment. I've been an instructor of professional coaches, and I'm so honored and happy to be leading this project specifically for international organization. My wonderful guest today is Sara Canna. Sara is a professional coach. She's a certified coach. She is a specialist in emotional intelligence and leadership. She is a person who has introduced coaching into her organization, which is a very large organization with offices all over the world. And so she will tell us all about, how she did that and about herself. So, Sara, maybe I would like to give you the floor to just say a little bit more about yourself that maybe I have left out.
Thank you, Saba. Thank you for inviting me. It's a great opportunity to share my experience. It will be a practical conversation where I will be talking to you a little bit about what I did to introduce coaching in my organization. And I work as an HR manager, so my specialization and my background is in human resources, and particularly in the area of people development and focus on learning. So that's my passion also. And I'm also a mother of three. I have 3 children, and I'm very proud of my family. So I also bring this experience in my work, because work and life is one thing. So I'm happy to maybe just say why coaching and how I got into the coaching area.
That would be very interesting. Please go ahead. Yeah.
So I myself I was introduced to coaching when I was looking for a new job. I was in transition, and somebody suggested coaching, and for me it was a complete new area. And so I approached it with my own questions related to my career, what to do, where to go, where to specialize. And it was for me of great help, because I felt really in charge of my career, and very empowered by the coaching questions that were used, and who helped me really find my way in the area of people development. So that's how I started, and I got an ICF, International Coaching Federation training, and then the diploma, and then later I found a job in HR in an international organization. And really, so I could say that personally coaching helped me to find my purpose, and brought me to the area of staff development and learning, which is really my passion and my current job and specialization now.
It's very interesting that you say that. I've heard other colleagues say also that just the sheer fact of training and becoming a coach has such a strong transformational impact on the person who's learning. And I'm very pleased to hear you say that it helped you find your purpose, and then gradually launch all the amazing programs that you have done. It's sort of your coaching adventure in your organization is absolutely awesome, and I'm glad that the audience will hear more about it. But thank you for sharing how it started. That's really very, very valuable. So, why did you start introducing coaching in your organization? What was the motivation for that?
Mm-hmm. So I was, as I said, really passionate because I experienced it on myself, and coaching is an evidence-based discipline. So I felt I was also reassured by the fact that it's backed by science, that is really a thought-provoking process that really empowers people. And for me, this is the core of staff development. So I also experienced that coaching is a very useful tool for performance and for performance improvement by making people become more aware of themselves. So I thought that it would be really useful for an organization like the one I'm working in to have this tool, this additional HR development tool.
Right.
And then I started coaching to provide also concrete solutions to some complex issues that I was facing in the workplace. I work in an international organization where there is diversity, multicultural teams, also working in different countries with virtual teams often creates tensions, interpersonal conflicts, misunderstandings, or also personal career development dilemmas. And so these were some of the challenges, but particularly I see more and more now in teams and colleagues unprecedented levels of stress. And this stress is due more and more to increasing work demands, workloads, and budget cuts, fewer and fewer resources that are made available to people. Also, sometimes interpersonal conflicts within teams. And despite the fact that we are all super connected now, people also feel disconnected. And finally, another challenge that I see is sometimes performance issues, demotivation, because people don't feel valued. So they disengage and then sometimes end up experiencing burnout because of the mental health stress. And so given all these challenges, I introduce coaching as one way to address these challenges and to help people really feel more connected, to solve their interpersonal conflicts, and also to increase their performance.
I understand that the bringing in coaching can help address all these different issues that you mentioned. So how did you actually start? I mean, day one, you have this wonderful idea, you know the problems that you want to solve, and you know that you have a tool that can address them and solve them concretely. So how did you actually start?
So it happened that in the organization we there was the development and introduction of a value charter. And one of these values was collaboration and people caring for people. And I thought that these were two excellent values to use to connect, to which I could connect coaching. So I went to the HR director and I made my proposal. I would like to introduce formally coaching as part of my area of work, which is career management. And I would like to use it in relation to all these issues that we have. And I got the okay, so no problem. So I then developed a concept note. So I put together my ideas on what is coaching, a very simple document in which I was highlighting the main steps of the process, how to deliver coaching, so the modalities, who was addressed to the audience, and of course the benefits. And that was my formal way of getting the okay. Mm-hmm. And then I also reached out to some external coaches, and I just proposed some workshops for staff, coaching skills for managers and staff, and just to test the idea, and it was really it had a great feedback, and so was really very, very well welcomed. So then after introducing the external speakers, I was contacted by some coaches internally in the organization who wanted to also be part of this network. So I created the internal coaching network, and now we are 11 certified coaches within the organization who offer pro bono coaching on a voluntary basis. And in addition to the 2 coaches that I have in my team. So we are 3 coaches in HR, and then we are also part of the other, of the network, internal network. But one step further, I reached out also to other coaches in other UN organizations, and we created a very open collaboration where we developed and we delivered workshops for our staff, and it was a collaborative effort because we had workshops with different participants from a mixture of our organizations, and these sessions were aimed at introducing coaching skills through an experiential and learning setting, and we didn't want to, in these workshops, to create internal coaches. We just wanted to give the tools to our colleagues to coach each other and to have a peer-to-peer coaching relationship. So what we call the coaching conversations or corridor coaching, introducing this new modality of interacting with each other. So that's how I went about it.
I think a lot of people that are on the line don't know really what is a coaching conversation, what is a coaching skill, what is an example of a coaching skill, a coaching tool. So perhaps could you explain to our audience, what is it that these colleagues learned? What did they learn how to do?
Mm-hmm. So, for example, I can give you an example of coaching applied to career and a career choice. And sometimes people are afraid or scared about changes and that happen in their jobs. So the coaching conversation could be to help them to find their resources. So what other ways could you look at this situation? What are the resources that you have right now to face this challenge? Who could help you in this situation, or what perspectives would this change bring you, and so have this type of open questions that allow people maybe to look at their challenge, their situation in a different way.
I'm so glad you gave that example because it just illustrates perfectly what the coaching posture is compared to what we usually do. You know, if a colleague comes and says, "Oh, I don't know what to do, I'm not very happy in my job," then we sort of throw hundreds of ideas at them. Why don't you do this? Do that. Have you tried this? Go meet so and so. And the person is just inundated with advice, and their mind has no space to think for themselves, their own ideas. So what you illustrated so gracefully and so beautifully were these open-ended questions that people who have a little bit of coaching sensitivity will ask rather than tell
Mhm.
what to do.
Yes, and also for managers, that was kind of a revolution in their way to relate to their staff, because um, when we are introducing coaching skills for manager, we are encouraging them to first of all listen to their employees, to listen to when they come to see them, and exactly as you are saying, not telling them what to do, but maybe putting themselves first in the coaching posture. So how can I help you? What can I do for you? How can you use me in this situation? What could I do for you? And this type of open questions also change the relationship between managers and staff. And we encourage really managers to focus on their listening skills, um, and of course, yes, so empower their staff to take a lead in a project, in a situation, or in a challenge that they face. And so that's also something that we are introducing, so coaching skills for managers
Mm-hmm.
in linked to their leadership development. And so this is something that it's been really producing results, because we have been approached by managers with dysfunctional teams sometimes, and so we have been like I've been supporting managers on one-to-one and then with the teams on how to improve the relationships within their teams. So there's this one-to-one approach that we offer with individuals and managers, and the team approach, the workshops more for groups.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, it's interesting because you've evoked, the inquiry aspect, as somebody who's using a coaching attitude will use these questions to inquire, what are things that we haven't thought of yet, opening up the conversation. But also you mentioned that there's a certain concept of helpfulness on the side of leaders who want to use coaching, and it is true, you're right that leaders who want to learn coaching skills tend to be also those who want to be helpful, and who will, ask their staff, how can I help?
Mhm.
And this greatly improves relationships. That you said it's very empowering. And lastly, you also mentioned that coaching helps for performance. It helps people to perform better. So you've covered like a lot of territories in your organization: the relational aspect, the performance aspect, and the inquiry aspect, getting new ideas. So that's really wonderful. I think there's a question there. I don't know if you'd like to take it now or if you'd rather have.
Yes, let's take it. Mhm.
Okay, so let me read it out to you. As you rolled out a coaching culture in your organization, did you see any significant benefits for the organization that could be measured? For example, reduced sick days, decreased turnover, etc., I guess.
Yes, we haven't measured in such a precise way. I have more results in a qualitative way through feedback that I received by directors, managers who have rolled out coaching with their teams. and also by one-to-one feedback that I receive on a regular basis. There is also organization-wise, we did a survey after we introduced coaching linked to a 360-degree development feedback tool. And that was the first, we did it 1.5 years ago, the first quantitative tool and measurement that I have in terms of impact, because following the 360-degree tool, the individuals received the 1 hour coaching, one hour one-to-one coaching, and that was linked to their development plan. And that was reflected in their performance assessment. So that was the only occasion where we measured the impact of coaching linked to, and the feedback that they received linked to performance objectives and areas of development.
Thank you,
yes,
Sara.
so far.
Yeah, thank you. And it's interesting that, you know, gradually we're also starting to measure the impact, and there's a lot of talk about return on investment, and the studies so far, they're business studies, at least in the ICF, they show very high return on investment. But, you know, it depends what you're measuring. There's no also standardized benchmark on what you're measuring. So it's really great that you've done this organization-wide survey and start building on that to develop your own science of your coaching interventions.
I can also add that we keep also statistics, my team, on how coaching help staff in career development. So we have the numbers of those who, for example, after a coaching process, have had interviews or were confirmed, appointed in the applications that they did for higher level post or different positions. So this we keep, and it's been very very useful to have those numbers, because it shows the impact. Of course, that is it is a more specific coaching. It's coaching for career development, and there is also a career counseling aspect linked to it, but it's always linked to development and, yes, eventually also empowerment, retention of staff, career development.
Thank you, Sara. I'd like to ask you just a little bit more insight into, I believe you have a mentoring program, and if you could just tell us a little bit how you've structured that.
Mm-hmm. So another area where we introduce coaching is our mentoring program. So we have a very large now global program where we have more than 200 mentors. And we offer regularly, my team offers coaching skills for mentors in group. And in workshops, and this has been very useful for the mentors who have this developmental role in the organization. And coaching and mentoring are two different postures, but we specifically, and we make a distinction, but we also offer coaching skills for mentors, because in their development role, in their mentoring role, they can also wear the coaching hat, and they found it very useful as an additional tool. So
But could
then,
you, may I interrupt you for our audience? Always, I think maybe not everyone is familiar with the difference between mentoring and coaching. Could you just briefly outline it for us?
yes, so the coaching approach, as we have mentioned now, is a developmental, is a posture that really focuses on the potential of the individual and puts the individual in the driving seat, and by asking questions that open up the perspective of the client, of the person. The mentoring is instead a more guided approach where the mentor shares their experience with the mentee. And so by sharing experience, brings in their skills, their knowledge, and gives examples of how the client or the mentee could solve a problem, and sometimes also by sharing their own knowledge, just sharing their knowledge. So that's the main difference.
Thank you. That clarifies. Yes, thanks very much. So we've already covered the amazing things you've done in your organization. You have a group of internal coaches that you've developed. You're in connection with the wider organizations, many organizations network of internal coaches. You have coaching skills for your managers. You have a mentoring program, which includes also having coaching skills. You have the 360 that you've deployed. And I don't know if you mentioned, I think you also have a team coaching. I think you mentioned that. And so there's a lot of stuff here. Which one do you think is developing faster or having the greatest impact out of all this variety that you're offering to your colleagues?
They are all of them, they are very much requested. So recently we are having requests for team development, team cohesion, and we use coaching for that. And the way we do it is we do one-to-one sessions supported by group coaching sessions, and this has been proved very beneficial for teams. And also recently, well, not so much recently, but I also introduced emotional intelligence, which is another area that I linked to coaching, because since 2019, I introduced the emotional intelligence topic officially, and we have had emotional intelligence workshops linked where staff learn how to coach each other while learning about emotional intelligence. So we have these workshops on, for example, change, collaboration, compassion, empathy, leadership, developing your sense of purpose, which are all emotional intelligence skills and competencies. And during these emotional intelligence cafes, we call them, people learn how to work together, and using some set of coaching questions for an hour and a half. They are very short and practical, and they come out with a kind of action plan on that specific topic of emotional intelligence. So that's another angle to introduce coaching. And finally, there's also a growing interest in action learning, which is a new initiative that I introduced last year, 2023, to have like managers coaching themselves in the action learning, through an action learning process on a specific challenge. So we share with them the coaching approach, and then off they go, and in turn they use the space to bring a challenge, and the rest of the group asks them coaching questions to come to a solution. So we applied it to management development, because our managers really need a lot of support, and coaching has been very appreciated. So action learning is another way of introducing coaching together with emotional intelligence.
That's really very emotional intelligence is something that everyone needs in every company, and including our organizations. I say our because I was in one for many years. I would say that organizations like ours or NGOs, not only the funding goes to the programs, which is normal. These are non-profit organizations, or even the governmental ones are non-profit in a certain sense. And so the money goes to the programs, and there's very little left for staff development. So first of all, good for you for having done all of this with internal resources. It's absolutely spectacular. Very good for you. But also there is the sometimes maybe the resistance from all the people that are working on programs. They're highly specialized, highly educated, highly performant experts in their technical topics. And so I'm wondering, how easy has it been for people who are so in the implementation of important programs? How easy has it been for them to adopt topics that maybe they don't usually adopt, like emotional intelligence or compassion and so on? How has the discourse been?
Yes, that's why it's important that there is in an organization like that, which is like ours, very technical, the senior management support and role modeling these new behaviors. And the way to promote them is to link coaching and this emotional intelligence approach to the values of the organization, but also to have the senior leadership promoting it. And that's what I managed to do, because I introduced emotional intelligence really with the top leadership, with a formal master class, and that was very successful. So since then I can use the senior leadership as a way to introduce these initiatives, because I have their support. So that's really fundamental. And then one other thing is when they see the results, when they see the changes in their teams. For example, I have been coaching a senior leader for 6 months on her leadership skills, and it was really impossible for this person to have a conversation with some of her direct reports. And since after the coaching, the situation has slowly changed, because we worked a lot on the posture that she could have to be more in the receptive instead of the commanding mode. And as a result, there was a team workshop with the direct reports that was organized by my team. And so for me, that was a success, because since the beginning, there was this attitude of non-collaboration. And then it ended in a year, more or less, with a team building. So I think that this was for me like a sign that with time and support, coaching can really produce results. So I'm still in touch with this manager, and from time to time she reaches out to me if she has an issue. So for me, that also is a sign that there was trust and confidence that was built, and that coaching is useful.
Thank you. Thank you for that, vibrant example, a real life example. Um, so I think we've more or less touched on all the things that we wanted to discuss, and you've given us a very clear picture on a method, on how to start small and how to then diversify the different coaching interventions, having external professional coaches come in, but also teaching managers and everyone as to have a bit of coaching skills. They don't need to become professional coaches, but to adopt the stance and everything. And I'm wondering, it's moving along really fine. You're getting good feedback. People are happy with this. It's growing. What is your vision for how this should develop in your organization in the next few years? What would you like to see?
So ideally, I would like to have like a team fully focusing on coaching. But that would be my vision, ideally, and to increase the support in the organization, and only do that. So we'll see, because I would like to first increase. The first step is to increase the internal coaching network with additional colleagues, which is what is happening right now. And then promote it more, so that more people know. There is the counter effect that we have a small team. There's 3 of us as internal coaches doing coaching full time. Well, not full time, but as our job, as our main job. So I have to balance the efforts of promoting with the ability to provide the support that is needed. And this is my challenge at the moment, because the vision would be really to have a full team, bigger team, providing coaching in all these areas that we have mentioned before on full-time basis. And one other vision that I have is to enlarge this network, not just in one location, in one place, so Geneva, but globally. And this is something that I am working towards. So globally means reaching out also to other locations where we have offices. That's the next step.
Well, that's a wonderful vision, and knowing you, and your determination and perseverance, and also the fact that you're a coach, and when coaches set a vision and set a goal, they achieve it. We do that. That's part of being a coach, and it's also what we transmit to the people who are our clients, our coachees. So I have no doubt that this is going to happen, and I just can't wait to interview you again a couple of years down the line to see how far you've moved. I really think that you're doing a wonderful job, and there have been other organizations. There are different levels of adoption of coaching in organizations. Some are just starting, hiring a few external coaches, often to help people that are, maybe managers that are having communication difficulties and things like that. Other organizations are much more advanced, like yours, have deployed different types of programs, and managers are proud to have a coach, because it helps them develop. So, I really do hope that your organization will join the growing list of organizations that support coaching, that are champions of coaching. For now, we have IOM, who is on our website, UNOPS, which is also a huge organization, and IRU, who's going to host in-person event on Friday during this program. So I do hope that your organization will join us. And I want to really thank you for everything that you're doing. And it's just amazing, and it has a great positive impact on staff. I know that, and I've heard it also, since I'm very close also to your organization and others. I would like to ask the audience, if you have questions for Sara, now is the time. I encourage you, any doubt or question or something you're not clear, or maybe you want to do the same thing and you don't know where to start, please put them either in the questions or in the chat. It's doesn't matter. And we have just 5 minutes for that. And in the meantime, maybe Sara, is there a last thing that you would like to share that you haven't, a question I didn't ask, for example? And I'll check the questions in the chat, don't worry.
Just also saying that you mentioned external coaching. We also have external, we also avail ourselves of external coaching for sometimes very senior leaders or teams where they want to maintain really their confidentiality, but in terms of being supported by external resources. And that's where I avail myself of external coaching. So that's another way. It's not just 100% internal coaching.
Okay, thanks for highlighting that. So we have Frank who's asking, do you currently have a coaching program for high potentials, folks close to moving into higher performance stage? Coming alongside these folks could catapult them, that's a good word, it could catapult them into the next level or find hidden talent for projects. So it's a huge area of interest, and she's wondering if you have that.
We don't have the categorization of staff as potential, as people with high potential, but we have career counseling, coaching and career counseling for people who pass certain assessments for senior leadership, and they are put in a pool of potential candidates for the next roles, but they are not called potential, high potential. And to those individuals, which are really those individuals who apply for those roles, we offer mentoring and coaching. So it's not formalized as high potential, but it's people who have passed an assessment center, so who have really competencies to take up a senior level role.
Thank you.
So in a way, yes.
It was a very good question. Sara's answer illustrates that in their organization, they really have an advanced stage of coaching adoption. They're not just at the beginning hiring coaches to fix people. No, they're also doing career development. They are looking at high potentials. They're using coaching for potential development, which is the most interesting use of coaching. Thank you for that, Sara.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, then I think we're nearing the end, if that's okay with you.
That's okay. Thank you for this opportunity. It's really my passion, so I was happy to share. And when sharing, you realize how much you have done. So it was very rewarding for me also to collect my thoughts on the path that I made so far. And thank you for allowing me to share it. And
it's been a great pleasure. Thank you, Sara.